Yes, I greet you wherever you are, and then you're welcome. This is much more a popular request, and I'm going to be doing a bit of a long video on R programming for beginners. If you are a learner and you want to start from scratch, this is the best video for you. Please share it for others to also learn, and then follow along. I'll make sure I put them in tracks so that you can watch and then for one track and then move to the other track, then in that order. Thank you. Let's get to it. Right. So, this is our studio, and you all, if you know how to update it, you should know how to install packages and whatsoever. However, I'll be glancing through all of that today for you to see. So we have different panels which are here. I'm not going to be boring you with all those things. I just want to take you through the beginning part of the programming and how everything works. So you have the pans here. If you don't know how to use this, please check on my YouTube channel and my TikTok page. You will see all of them, how to be able to use all of that. They are there. And those videos, I call them managing R Studio, how to manage R Studio. So those ones are there. So today I'm going to clear off whatever that is found on the left bottom panel. That's the console. So I'll just clear it here. And then you see everything is now free over there. So there's nothing there. We are, what if you are going to write a script, or if you pick the whole of what I have just here, that's a script that we have. If you want to insert a new script, like what I'm scrolling here, everything is a script, as you can see it. Everything there is a script. Now, if you want to create a new script, then you have Control, Shift, and then N. Then a new script will come. Then the first thing is you see that it will come as untitled. You need to save it to be able to give it a title. So you come and click on this blue button here, and that will give you the opportunity to save. So I'll come here, and then you will write the name that you want. So I will say beginners. Then maybe this way. And then you can see down here, it means the file extension is going to be .r, which means it's an R script. So I'll say save. And you can see that it is now there, which is beginners. Now, the next thing is, let's look at how to be able to, what are the basic syntax we need to know. The first thing is R works in lines. Okay, I have to pause this video and do it again because there seems to be noise in my environment, so I won't be able to continue. Maybe when the noise die down, so I will be able to continue. Okay. Okay, so that is it. It works in lines. So you have a line here. If I tap on my enter, another line will come. If you tap on your enter key, another line will come. Then another line will come. Then in that order. So if you want to go back, you can use your backspace and you go back the same way. So R works like Microsoft Word. So you can do cut and paste. You can, it's the same way. Control X will cut, Control V will paste. Then in that order. Now, let's look at the lines here, how it works. If you can write a comment and you can write a code, there's a difference. If I'm writing a comment, I will say, let's say I want to write the first part of it. So I want to say data types. So the first line will be data types in R. So if I put it this way, This is a code. You see that arrow recognize it and then put this. It's a code, but it doesn't understand what kind of code is that. Because the only word arrow understands there is in. Like in is a word that arrow recognizes. So to be able to take that out, you don't want it to be seen as a code. You want it to be seen as a comment. So we'll put hashtag at the beginning. And then the color will change to green. It means anything you put at the left-hand side, anytime you put hashtag, the right side of the hashtag are comment. So even though this is a hashtag, everything here is comment. But the comment only affects anything on the right-hand side. For instance, if I come down here and I say, let's say 3 plus 5, and then I can come here and put hashtag over there and say, let's say vector addition. So I'm simply saying that whatever is on the right-hand side is a comment, perhaps of whatever is found over here. And then that is it. So I can see run that line, and then it will give me the results. But it will only work on the left side of the hashtag. The right-hand side is a comment, and that's it. Now, the third way is when you are commenting, you can also comment in such a way that is a broad or is a block comment. How do we do a block comment? Imagine I have several scripts and I want to comment everything out, or I have several writings and I want to comment it out. Then I'll use Control, Shift, and M. It will comment, and C. It will comment everything out, and then I am good to go. Apart from that, we can also, another way of also commenting is to create a folder, a fold app. A fold app means, let's say I said, this is data types in R. So I can come down here and say, I start with hashtag again and say data or vector operations in R. Vector operations in R, like this. But it means anything that is going to come under this is about vector operations. So what I'll do is I come here and put 4 hashtags. Now, immediately the 4 hashtags come, you will see there is a drop-down arrow here telling you that anything I now write down here, I can fold everything up. So for instance, if I come here and I say plus this, I can simply enter and then put 22, let's say minus 6, enter. I can say 45 divided by 7, enter. And that is it. So now, if I click on this small arrow, it will fold everything up and then you will not see it. Then you can only see this dash, a double arrow here. If you want to see whatever that is found in this line that has been folded up, then you come and click on this, then it will unfold it and everything is down there. So that's another way of block commenting, to make sure that you have your topics in order. And this way helps you to organize your work, especially if you're writing an exam about coding and stuff. This is how we do it. All right. So these are some of the ways we can comment out in R. Then another way is how we create variables. We can create variables by giving any name. So I can come here and say variable creations. So I'll start with hashtag. Then we are looking at variable creation. And then with the variable creation, we have syntax. It must always start with an alphabet. So I will say variable 1. So I'm just creating a variable. So I can give it any name. But remember, variable creation, the name must reflect whatever that you are going to create. I am creating variables about ages of people. So I'll put here ages. And then it becomes, that's the name of the variable. So it must start with an alphabet, and you can have them in multiple. Let's say ages of kids. So I can say ages underscore kids. Then we can come again and say have another ages, maybe ages of adult, then I can put the ages of adult. Then maybe we can say ages of underscore. So you notice I'm using underscore. You don't use dash. Dash means minus. That's why you don't use minus. So we can say ages of females. And then these are all variables. But as they are standing down, they are just text. For them to become variable, then they have something has to be assigned to them. How do you do that? To assign the first one, it means you have to bring an assignment operator. That will make it a variable. Assignment operator, you press alternate key down and dash. Then you will see this funny symbol like left and then dash, telling you that you are going to assign something from the right side to whatever is found on the left side. So let's say ages of Kate. So I will say I have one child who is 2 years old. So I have assigned 2 to ages of Kate. And then now if I come here, the second one here, that variable, you have to also assign something to it. So I will press my alternate key down and then dash to get this symbol, which is called assignment operator. There are about 3 of them. You have left assignment. This is left assignment. We have right assignment and we have equal assignment. But for best practice, I would advise all of you to use the left assignment. That is always better. So the adult, let's say the person is 22 years, and then that is it. So you can also come here. We could have also said, I could use equal sign, like I said, and come and say that the person is, let's say, 33. All of them are ways to create variables. But let's say these are ages of kids, and then you have another variable that is also ages of kids in different places. You could say, you could attach a number to it. If not, if I should come and create another variable with the same name, it will override the previous one that I have already created. And that is why when we are creating variables, we attach numbers to them sometimes. Let's say ages of kids 1, ages of kids 2. So how do you create that kind of variables? So you come down, let's come down here, and that variable I will say ages underscore kids. You can put 2, you can put, let's say 2, like this. You can put underscore 2 is accepted. You can also put 0.2. This is also accepted. But you cannot put dash 2. This will mean minus. And then that's why. So we can repeat the variables, but add numbers to it to be able to separate it. And that is it. So having given you this context, now let's look at the very basic part of R, which we call data types. R has 5 different data types. 5 different types. And now I'm going to start. So I'll create my comment or my header, and I'll call it the data types in R. I think I already have one like that. Data types in R. Then I'll come down here, create another. So I would have given this one 2 hashtags, or I'll come here and fold it up. So I'll give it 4 hashtags like this or more. Then I can come down here and say, now we want to look at the first part, which is vectors. We have vectors. So we are going to look at vectors. So I'll also give that one a sharp heading. So we are going to look at vectors. Vectors in programming is common. It's the same. You have a variable that holds the same type of entries. So let's say I started with ages of kids, right? So let me now say, I'll just say kids underscore age. So I'm creating the variable. Or let me start it this way. So if I have numbers, let's say 1, it's a vector. If I have, let's say, a character A, it's a vector, but you cannot leave it just A like that. It has to be double quote. So I'll put it A. It's a vector. So, but these are just one individual element. So when we say a vector, it means when you have more than one element of the same type, of the same category in one. So the ages, they are all 1, 2, they are 1, 2, 3. You cannot have somebody age being an alphabet. That's where. So if you are talking about vectors, it has the same entry. So let's say we're talking of vector 1. So let me put it that way, vector 1. And then we create this. To be able to create a vector in R, you can say C. You use combine. Remember, you are going to combine objects. So we use the combine function, and I will say like this. So you press shift and go and press 9. You will see this thing coming there. So you can now type whatever that you wanted. What are the ages? They are kids. So maybe 1 is 2, and then you can separate them by and then in that order. So we've created it. Mind you, you cannot have any operational if you are creating a vector. This is the variable vt1. This is the assignment operator. This is the function that is creating it. And this is the function body that is holding the element of the vector. And you notice that every entry there is the same. They are all numbers. Now, at the entries here, you cannot have operational sign or exclamation mark at the end. You cannot have comma and leave it this way. No, it will throw an error. You cannot have operational sign like plus at the end. You cannot do that. And so you cannot also have something like this. So you leave it. You make sure that the last one is either a character or is one of the elements of the vector. That is it. So I have created a vector like that. And this is a vector of, let's say, numbers. When you run it, you see that we have committed it into memory, and then it is now seated over here. So I can do like this. If I run it, you see that it has been printed. What do I mean by the running? Running means if you click on this, or when you have written your text like this, it's basically 0. You have just written text. R doesn't know what it's all about. But for it to interpret, you have to commit it into memory. So R will know what you are talking about. So you come and click on this small button here called run, or you place your cursor anywhere within the line 16 for now, and then press Control and enter. It will also run it that way, and then you're good to go. So that's our vector 1. Let's assume we are creating another vector. So we'll call that one vector 2. So VT2 like this. Then alternate key dash, and then we say we bring our line function. It will open it. So put whatever that you want to put in, or double quote. Best practices use double quote all the time. So we say double quote, and then we can put the A. Then you come out of it, comma, and then you have your, let's say, B, and then you have C. If you are an absolute beginner, then you should know that when we come out here, to be able to get a double quote, just press your shift key down and then go and press the double quote key. Then it will automatically appear. The two of them will appear at the same time. Then you type whatever that you want to type inside. You can put G inside, and then in that order. Maybe the very last one. Sorry about that. And then the very last one, then we put R over there, and then that is it. So to run it, you control and then this, then we have committed it. Now, before we continue, check this. On the right hand side, whatever that we are creating here are also found they are found inside the environment. Like I said, watch my previous videos and then you will see I have already explained what all these panels means. These are the environments whatsoever. So whatever that you are doing, it saves as memory here. You can always go back to it. These are things I've done in the past. So we've created a vector of numbers, vector of characters. You can also create a vector of booleans, like true or false. So let's say I have a vector here. That would be my vector 3. Then we have C. Then booleans means true or false. So I can just put the T, and you see that the T changes into blue. Anything you type in R, and then it changes to color, to blue. It simply tells you that R has that already in his language. R understands what that means. So if I put F, R knows I'm talking about false. I can also spell them completely. And then I will say true, but they have to be in uppercase, and then I can say false, uppercase, and then that is it. So all of them, I have created, what is it, a vector of booleans, and then they are all there. We can also create a vector of integers where you have L1, L2, and then another order. But I'll leave it around this point. So these are the vectors that we have created. And let me also say, it's not all the time we create vectors using the combine function. The definition of a vector is that it's a variable that has the same entry. So you can see here they are all numbers, here they are all characters, here they are all booleans. So when you have it that way, they are called a vector. Another way we could have created, say, VT4, vector 4. You can also name the variables anyhow you want. It's just fine. Like this. Then we could have come here and say 3 is to, let's say, 8. We are creating numbers in series or in sequence, which is from 3 up to 8, 3 and 8 inclusive. So we can also run that, and you see the vector is also created. Now, when you run anything and it is not properly done, error will come down here in the console to tell you that it is wrong, and then that's how it works. Now, then we also can create the vectors of inbuilt functions. For instance, I have vector 5 like this. So I'll just have this. The reason why I am given one line space is just for clarity. If you can see clearly, you can actually just ignore that. So let's say we have letters. Letters, they are inbuilt functions that contains, so that's letters of A, B, C. Like, see, if you want the uppercase one, it will be there. And then we can run that, it will also be created. Then we can also have vector, let's say, vector 6, and then we can create, let's say, months of the year. Okay, so we can say month. So we just simply type month. If you want the full names, you use this. If you want the abbreviations, you use it. Let's use the abbreviations, and then we simply say control, and then we run it. So we see that it has been created. So the next thing I want us to pay attention is when you create your vectors, you have to know how to be able to run it or to print them out. To print them out is very simple. You either highlight the variable that contains that information and run it, or you can simply type it again. Let's say I can simply come into any line at all and then say VT5 like this. Then whilst my cursor is by it on the same line, control and enter, then it will print whatever that I have over there. And then you can see it is printed down here. So that's how we can run it. If you also want, you can come and use the run here. And then you are good to frames. So I will put here and I will say creating data frames. Now, when we come down to create a data frame is a data set that has rows and columns. So it has rows and it has columns. It's just like a table, but it is called a data frame. I will explain the difference later on. So to create a data frame, you use the function data.frame. So let's start the first one. So I'll say df1. That's my data frame 1. That's my variable name. So I have alternate and dash to get my assignment operator. Now use the function data.frame. Now immediately R sees data.frame, R knows that you are going to create a data frame. So when you start typing data.f, automatically a suggestion will come here. You tap on your enter key and then you see it. Now to create a data frame, because I said a data frame is a data structure that has rows and columns. Every column has a header and row has numbers. But you might not give the the column headers or row headers for now. So let's create a data frame that doesn't have column headers. The column doesn't have name. So R will automatically give them, let's say, some name at random. So, and because it has a data structure that has rows and columns, it means we are going to create a certain number of rows. And the number of rows for each column might be the same. In data frame creation, you cannot have one column having 10 rows, the other one have 9 rows. It will not work. So let's start with one. So the first one, we are creating a data frame of, or the first one, let's say, month, like this particular month we have. So I will, okay, or let me start with 1, 2, 3. So I'll say 1 is to 12. It means I am creating the first column that will take 1, 2, 3 up to 12. The second column, I want it to be from, let's say, 2 to 13. And then it means, and then the third one, I want it to be from 3 to 14. 14. So I have created my data frame like that. So if I run it, you see the data FG1 is here. If you come and then you run it, you can see the data frame has been created. But they have been given header name. So this is the column X. So we do not give them column names. That is why they are. And you can also see the rows, row 1 all the way up to 12, then in that order. So our data frame has been created. This is how we create data frames. You can also create data frame of vectors. You have already created the vector set somewhere. Then you now come and create your data frame with them. And then, so let's look at something. The next data frame, let's create a data frame of letters. Letters. So we have our data frame 2, and then we can simply come here, use the function data.frame, data.frame, and then we come here, just tap on your enter key, and that should come. And then, so we want the first column to be the month, what's the let's say, maybe the first 6 months of the year. So I will simply say month. Then we are using the abbreviation form like this. But we want the first 6. The first 6. All right. Don't get confused here. I'm introducing something new, but I'll explain that later on. So we want to select the first 6. So you bring this square bracket that allows you to set a vector. I'll just a topic. So I'll say 1 is to 6. And then what I'm simply saying is I am picking the first 6 months of the year as my first column. The second is I'm also picking letters. So I have letters, and then I'm picking the uppercase letters. Then again, you bring the square bracket and say we are picking the first 6 letters. So I will say 1 is to 6, then in that order. Maybe the third column would now be, let's say, some numbers up to about 6 of them. And then we are good to go. But because we want it to be one variable, we use a combine function and create a vector inside. And then we can say we are looking for ages 32, and then 33. We must make sure they are also 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 30 order. That done, just say Control and Enter, and the data frame has been created. So now we can print the data frame. Like I said, you can highlight it and go and run here. And you can see the functions. You can create it if you know how to be able to, or using series numbers or whatsoever. for whatsoever. The most important thing here is data.frame is the function we use in creating data frames. Now, let's look at another way of creating data frame with the column names already. You are creating the data frame by the column names are already given. So I am going to say df3, that's my data frame 3, and then we come here, use the function data.frame. Then we come here. It means you have to create the column name first before you follow with the entry. So let's say we want to say ages, or let's just say month. So the first column, the first name will be month. So I'll come and say month. That's the variable name. And the variable name will now use equal sign and assign whatever that is going to be the entries into that variable, the column. What will be the entries of the column, like each row. Then the month, we are going to assign a certain number of months to it. We can use the short month function here, month dot, like this. And then let's say we are selecting the first 8, right? So I will say first 8. So I'll use this one and say 1 is to 8. We are picking the first 8. Then the second one, we have to also create the column name again. Let's say the column name, we want to say ages or BMI, body mass index. So I will say BMI. That is BMI. That's the column name. Then you assign the BMI. It means there are going to be 8 of them. So I will simply come here and then say 1 is to 8. It means I have assigned 1 is to 8 to a variable called BMI, and that variable will be the column header. Then the third one, let's say we are looking at weight. So we have weight, and then we bring equal sign, and then we can use maybe combine to create a vector, and then come here and say, okay, the weight, we are looking at different weight. So we are looking at 23 to 25. That's for the first. And then the second one, there are just 3 left because we are looking at 8 in number. And remember, they must have the same entries. So the next one we have to add. So 23 to 25, that will be about, I think, 6 or something. So we need to add 2 more or 3 more. So I will now add, let's say, 44, 48, and then 56 kilogram. Then when we are done, let's run it. So thank God we have had an error here. The error is saying that data frame, this and this and this, are having different number of rows. I've already mentioned this, that when the rows are not of the same length, it will throw an error. So which means the error is coming from here. So let's run it again. Yeah, it's still. So we are looking at 23, 25. 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay, 23, 25. 23, 24, 25. That's 3, 4, 5. So I needed 3 more to be able to complete it. So let's say we have 44, 55, 66. And I think that will be fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6, 7, 8. Then that's fine. So 1 will go on. So now when we print it, we can see our data frame having the first one are months. So you see that now we now have the column have names, BMI is there, and then we also have the weight, which are also given. So this is how we create data frames. I'll be dealing with them later on more specifically. So now the next one is how do we create lists? And so lists. A list is a combination of different what is it? It's a data structure that contains different kinds of data. You can have vectors, you can have data frames, you can have numbers, you can have characters, all combined in one. That's how list functions. So let's say we are using our list 1, LT1 or LST1. That's our first list. And so we use the function list to be able to create it. And so tap enter key, it will be there. Now you can create, let's say 1, 2, this followed by let's say true, followed by anything. Let's say one of the vectors I have already created, which is here vector 6. So I'll just put the VT6. And so we've created a list like that. It's a list, so it will contain different things. And then that is it. So we run that, and then the list has been created. So when we print it, you can see, let me fold this up. So you can see how the list is being printed. See, it will print each of them as an index. So you have the A here, you have the Boolean here too, and you have the vector here, it will print the vector out. We could have also created a list together with different data types which are there. So let's say we have our list 2 here, and then we're going to use the list function like this. When it comes, tap enter key, and then we can say we have a list of data frame 1, DF1. Then we also have VT2. Then we also have VT3, and then that's it. So we've created a list of data frame, vectors, and whatsoever. So we run that, and the list, the object VT3 not there. I think, yeah, I don't have VT3. Oh, it's there, but you understand why Harry say it is not there. We didn't run it when we created it. So arrow is just seen as a text. It doesn't know what it's all about. So now run it and come back to run the list function. You see that the error will leave. See that the error has left. So now print the lists, and you can see that we are going to fold this up. You can see this is the list 2 we are printing, which is here. And then you can see that we have the first one is a data frame, which is here. The second one was vector 2, and the third one was the Boolean, which was vector 3, and then that's it. So it will print them different. That's how list works. Now, the next data type in R is data, which we call data arrays. Okay, so we have data arrays, and then data arrays, we have data matrix as well. So next thing, let's look at matrix data. So to use matrix data, so let's say we have matrix 1, that's the variable. So we come here and say, sorry, the matrix 1, so we come here and use the matrix. A matrix data is also like a data frame. You do the number according to the way you use. So you have number of columns, number of rows by rate. But we use the function to matrix entry will be the data that you want to distribute them. That is, let's say 1 is to 50. So the data has to be created somewhere variable. 1 is 15. Will be number of rows. You see that in n row 3, or let's put 5. In matrix, you are defining rows and columns of a data that you are distributing. What's the data? The data is 1, 2, 3 up to 15. And you want to distribute them in rows and columns. So it has to be a multiple. The multiple of the rows and columns will give you that data point, that number. So 5 times 3 will give us 15, and that's it. So we always bring this one called by rule. So the by rule simply means, do you want R to follow strictly what you have defined, or R can decide? If I can say here true, follow exactly what I have defined, then you run it, and then you are good to go. So if I come here and print, so you will see that my matrix is here, but you can see that it's a little bit different from the rules. Sorry, the data frame, and then I have my matrix seated over here. Now let's assume that let me try creating another one here, and so that will be my matrix 2, matrix 2, and then use the function as usual, matrix here, and then first the data. What data do you want to distribute? This time, let's say we are going to use month, the month data, the abbreviated form of month, which is here. So they are 12. So we come n row should be equal to 12. I think that would be 4 by 3, right? And then n column should be equal to 3, and by row should be equal to true. And then we run that. So now, if you print this, we have distributed months of the year over a data array structured in 4 rows and then 3 columns. And that's what matrix is all about. So we print it out, and you can see how it has been structured. This is how it has been structured, like I highlighted. That's what matrix is all about. We could have done that for letters and then in that order. So you have your data already seated, and you want to distribute them in a format that defines whatever that, or in a format of an array, and then pay your own structure. Now that's for matrix. Now, how do we also create another? The last one is data arrays. How do we create data arrays? Arrays are just matrix being repeated. Matrix being repeated. So you have matrix that have been repeated at different times. So this is matrix 1, matrix 2, matrix 3, matrix 4. So that's what we call array. That's what data array. So again, we have our hashtag, and we're looking at data arrays like this. Then I'm going to come down here, and then I'll call the first variable array 1. Like I always say, create variables which names reflect, because I've already created plenty of this work because I teach it all the time. They are always, so array 1 here, and then we use the function array. Always remember, the function is what matters. The function is what matters. Always remember, the function is what matters. I emphasize. Okay, so when we enter like this, the first thing we are going to, what is the first entry into that function body? So we are taking the data, right? So I'm going to repeat whatever that's on top here. So 1:15, let's say 1:15. But unlike what is it? Unlike we have it in matrix, for this one, we always have dimensions. And then the dimensions, we can use C vector to create them. The dimensions, what are we saying? We are saying that we want to have 4 rows. How many columns? 3 columns. And then how many times do we want this matrix to repeat? We want it to repeat, let's say 4 times. And that's all. If we leave it like this, we have created our matrix. Oh, there's an argument that is missing. You can see error. Yes. So I put, in one of my lessons, I'll be teaching how to identify errors and how to correct them. I already did one in a video yesterday. You can check it out, how to be able to remove lock directory in R programming. You can check that. It's on my Facebook and my YouTube channel. Now, where is the error? I put a comma here. No, there's nothing there. That's where this particular comma here, that's where the error is. So I need to go back to the code and remove it. So here, you can see there's a comma here and there's nothing. So just take that comma out and then run it again. And I think this time around it should be. And now let's our so you notice that because we are saying we're repeating the max, that this is the first one, the fourth one, and then this is the fourth one. So let's get back to the code. You see that we have a data that's from one, and we are distributing this data in array. We want to have it in 5. You want that same array structure repeated for. That's what it means, and that's what